Hey everyone! So, Lauren has apparently passed on her cold to me, so I'm gonna keep this rather short for this week just because my throat is really annoying me and it kind of hurts to talk after a while. So, this week we're talking about overhyped books that let us down, and I actually have a handful of these, mainly because if a book is overhyped, I tend to avoid it. And I know I'm probably missing out on some really good books because of that. Like, I haven't read Starcrossed by Josephine Angelini, Girl of Fire and Thorns by Ray Carson, Incarnate by Jodi Meadows. I haven't read any of those just because I've seen like so many good reviews. I'm worried that I'm going to hate it. But some of the ones that I did pick up and were let down by. First up, Eve by Anna Carey. I had the hardest time getting through that book. Like, I was so bored with it. And I'd heard that it was this great dystopian, like, fascinating world, amazing characters, and I didn't see any of that. Like, Eve got on my nerves. She just seemed to accept things way too easily. Like, 1 second she'd be completely against something, and then 2 seconds later it was like, oh yeah, I totally agree with you about that. And it's like, wait, what made you change your mind? There was no explanations there. And there was nothing really special about the whole unique dystopian world. Like, it seemed like every other dystopian, but less developed. And so I was really let down by that one. And then I read the sequel because I like to torture myself. And while it was a little better, I still didn't really care much for Eve. And once again, the world was not built up enough for me to really like it. I also read recently Beautiful Disaster by Jamie McGuire, and I read it because so many people gave it really good reviews, including like bloggers that I usually agree with. And I gave it the lowest rating I have ever given a book, and I honestly, like, I wish I hadn't read it because I just hated it. I thought the writing was mediocre. I thought the characters were terrible. Like, I really wanted to reach into the book and slap or strangle them, sometimes both. And the whole story was just bizarre, and I just didn't get it. And I didn't get the appeal. And I know so many people love it, but I didn't care for it at all. Like, I really don't think I've hated a book more than I've hated that one. And I don't normally hate books. So that one is one that I just could not like, and I will never recommend it. And also, this one wasn't really overhyped, but the thing is, I read reviews for it from bloggers that I normally completely agree with, and so when they loved it, I expected to love it, and I didn't. And it's The Book of Blood and Shadow by Robin Wasserman, and I know Lauren actually reviewed it, and she liked it, but I read it, and I just was like super nitpicky with it. I tore it apart. Like, there were run-on sentences, the writing just wasn't that great. The characters weren't that great. Like, the only thing I liked about the book was the setting, and it was only part of the book that had the setting that I liked. Part of the book was set in the United States, and part of it was set in Prague. And in Prague, I loved reading about the history and all the different places there. But when it was set in the United States, there was literally nothing interesting to me about that book. So that one kind of let me down. And I honestly think this one is kind of because the author is overhyped, but Fated by Alyson Noel, that book got on my nerves. Like, it was the same thing with Eve, where the main character was against something 1 second, and then the next second she was, like, all over it. And it was kind of with her, I think it was her grandmother that was telling her all these things, and that she didn't believe her, and then the next page she believed her for some odd reason. I don't quite get the logic behind that. I like explanations when somebody changes their mind all of a sudden. And it's got all these like Native American details, which was really interesting. But the characters were terrible, and really, I didn't really expect amazing writing because Alyson Noel's books aren't really known for their amazing writing, but I expected better than I got. And so I wanted to like that because I have liked Alyson Noel's books in the past, but I just didn't enjoy it, and I will not be continuing on with that series. So those are all of my overhyped books that I can think of at the moment. I'm sure there are more, but some overhyped books that definitely deserve it: Divergent and Insurgent, and oh gosh, You know, I can't even think of any more. Those are the ones that immediately come to mind. Ooh, Shatter Me. I really like Shatter Me, and I think others will too. And the funny thing is, the selection, Lauren liked it but didn't love it. I loved it. I thought it was like, I agree with her that it was really light and fluffy and not really dystopian like, but I think that's what I liked about it the most, and so that's why I loved it so much. But it might be a little overhyped if you're looking for The Hunger Games meets The Bachelor, because it's not The Hunger Games at all. But yeah, so those are some overhyped books you should check out. And then the other ones I'd recommend staying away from. What are some overhyped books that let you guys down? Other than that, I'll see you guys next week.